No, we've loved these characters from the get-go. You can't be a misogynist and be in love with an incredible female heroine. It's impossible. What's up, team? Hope y'all are doing well. Hope you guys had a good weekend. The Terminator Dark Fate film is a flop. It's actually going to lose money when it's all said and done. I am a huge Terminator fan. Been a huge fan since the first. 1 and 2 are the best, and everything else is garbage. The Terminator Dark Fate film flopped primarily because of one thing. Feminism. Feminism basically has ruined this franchise. Up until this film came out, there was still hope held out for a good Terminator film. You know what I mean? A good return to form, James Cameron type of Terminator film. One that would harness everything people loved about the Terminator franchise into a new good film. One that would be so good that it would be considered a part of the first 2 films. You know what I mean? A sequel to Terminator 2, right? And this one is not that. It's not. It's not that at all. And so let me explain what I mean by feminism ruining this film. Hollywood has a clear agenda to push the future is female narrative. Kathleen Kennedy, the head of basically Lucasfilm, has openly said that the future is female when it comes to, more films. And that therefore means there's going to be a huge emphasis placed on feminist women in films, And so, it's no secret. It's no secret that films have been pushing this kind of feminist narrative for a while. And here's the issue with it. The guy that directed Dark Fate basically said that, misogynist trolls on the internet are hating on the film because they're misogynists, right? And a lot of other people would say that, you know what I mean? A lot of people say, well, it's really the misogynists that are ruining this sort of stuff, that aren't supporting the film. If it wasn't for them, implying that if it wasn't for them being misogynist trolls, that the film would have done better, This doesn't make sense. That's a false argument, and here's why. It's not like Sarah Connor is a new person in the Terminator franchise. You know what I mean? She is a key figure in the franchise. She's a significant person, a significant character in the franchise. Since the very first film, she has been incredibly important. But moreover, what's really important about this is that Sarah Connor has been a strong female lead, so to speak. She's been a very strong female character in the first 2 films. She was she was every bit of a woman back then as she is now. And by the time Terminator 2 ended, she was a bona fide badass is the word that I would say. She was hardcore, you know what I mean? The first film, she was essentially a victim of Skynet's attempt to kill her, preventing her son from being born, and the first film is essentially a sci-fi horror film, so to speak, in a way. The second film, having survived that stuff and knowing what's going on, what's going to happen in the future, she is a seasoned, experienced person right? Like, she's been through some stuff. She's got her fair share of dings and cuts and scars, and she knows that if she can't, that she needs to defend herself, right? There is a real threat out there that wants her dead. And so by the time Terminator 2 comes around, dude, she is hardcore, you know? She knows her way around some guns. She knows how to defend herself. You know, she is not the same Sarah Connor from the first film. And so back then, way back then, the Terminator franchise had a strong female character. You know what I mean? Who was tough, who was battle hardened. You know, and so if this character, if she existed in the franchise from the get-go, and people like me are huge fans of the films and love Sarah Connor, how can we be misogynistic trolls? It's impossible. It's impossible to be a misogynist troll when you absolutely love a strong female character in a film. That's silly. It's a really silly, sad cop-out to say that misogynists are what put a damper on your film. If anything, it's a pathetic excuse. And so with Dark Fate, they are full-on feminists in this film. And the problem, the core of the issue is really this. It's when people become so heavy-handed with their feminist ideals, it basically becomes obnoxious. That's really it. I mean, it's when you push so hard, you know, like the Batwoman TV show, you know, the suit is literal perfection, and she responds with, "It'll be perfect when it fits a woman." You know what I mean? Like, that's so heavy-handed and stupid that it's obnoxious. This whole thing, this whole push for you know, highly feminine lead roles in films and stuff is really built out of insecurity, if anything. Now think about that. It's really built out of insecurity. You would think that with the Terminator Dark Fate film just now coming out, that there has not been any well-known female lead characters in films that were awesome, right? We got Sarah Connor. We got Ellen Ripley from the amazing Aliens franchise, right? Awesome characters. And you know what's really neat? Both Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor have beautiful growth. They have an arc of growth throughout the films. Terminator 1, Sarah Connor was essentially a victim, right? And having survived that, in number 2, she's awesome. She's tough, you know. Ellen Ripley, same thing. In the first Alien film, she was basically a victim of the xenophobe, the only survivor on that ship, you know. And in the second film, she basically takes on these motherly characteristics to for Newt, you know, the little girl, the only person surviving on the colony. And in immense bravery, knowing that the little girl is still on the planet and they have to go, she goes back, right? She dons a pulse rifle, tapes a flamethrower to it, you know, and takes some grenades or something like that, you know, some explosives, goes back into the heart of the colony to free her, in spite of the immense danger at the colony. Like, she becomes, she's a bona fide hero, you know. Both of them have this beautiful growth, you know. And that's kind of a problem with the current Star Wars films. Rey is, dude, she just does not have any real trauma, you know, nothing that forced her to be forged into a hero, you know, a survivor. Luke Skywalker gets his hand chopped off by his own father, and he's hanging on a pole underneath I believe it was Bespin, you know, hanging on for dear life, almost dead. That's what makes really good characters. When your female character doesn't have that growth, it's just clearly an attempt to just make a female look tough, and that's disingenuous. And so that's why the Dark Fate film stinks. you come in. There's another reason too. It's kind of a spoiler of sorts, so I won't mention it. But basically, 10 minutes into the film, I have not seen this film. I will never see this film. I will not give them any of my money. But online, people have basically said that within the first 10 minutes of the film, I'm not spoiling it, they basically wipe away some really important key stuff. That's all I'm going to say. And that's another thing that's just insane, you know? It's kind of like saying, you know, hey, fans, you know, you guys who loved and appreciate this franchise, you know, and have been so patient trying to wait for a good Terminator film. Well, guess what? All that stuff that you like so much is dead. It's incredible. It's this incredible arrogance that these writers and directors have. They come in and they destroy a beloved franchise, and then they get on Twitter and say, well, it was really misogynists who ruined this. No! We've loved these characters from the get-go. You can't be a misogynist and be in love with an incredible female heroine. It's impossible. Your argument is invalid. It's really silly. And yet here we are. So anyway, dude, modern day feminism is just, it's cancerous. It really is. It really is. And it's ruining everything. It's ruining everything. These characters, females, have been around forever and have been really beloved characters in films, but this immense insecurity by feminists has people ruining well-beloved franchises. It's nuts. So yeah, I mean, and this isn't going to stop, by the way. It's just going to keep going, you know. It's gonna keep going, and at this point, they are dead set on trashing these franchises for an agenda, and trying to create a insecure male fan base as an excuse for their poor performance, you know, for their poor sales, and that's not it. That's just not honest. That's complete dishonesty. You know, that's what it is. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this this feminist agenda, how it's destroying well-established franchises. It's a bummer. Like, dude, as far as I'm concerned, Terminator 1 and 2 are the best. Everything else up until that was really a disappointment. But boy, this is just, dude, they saw fit to destroy everything, everything that the Terminator franchise was built upon. They made that clear, and it's real sad. If you guys like the video, you know what to do. Consider sharing it if you feel the same way that I do. Until then, y'all be safe. See y'all around.